for so long, right? And it was a series of bad choices. Not necessarily the wrong ones, just bad ones. So I've always had a sort of mismanagement of self, in that people always perceive me wildly different than I actually am. And there's this big miscommunication in this between how I feel and how I am and how people perceive me. Right? There's noise in the way, and I've been slowly learning how to pull myself into a better alignment of who I truly am, so that people can see me for who I truly am. And for a long time that was hard, because I spent at least 15 years being pretty depressed and angry. And I would sit around and think about what was I like at 8 years old. And I love the age of 8, 7, 8, when you're still possibly, you're old enough to have a decent sense of wherewithal, and still young enough to believe in magic, and imagination. So what was I like as an 8-year-old? How did I feel about myself as an 8-year-old? What was my view of the world as an 8-year-old? What are the things that I believed? How did I view my parents? What was I, what did emotions feel like? Like I would spend my time to try to, because my adult life has been a series of knockdowns. Some of my teen life, I've had a series of knockdowns that started when I was 12. So I have that ideal me in my head. And over the course of the last 2 years especially, I've learned to, instead of, I don't like courage. I get it, but courage implies having to muster. Courage implies having to, take a breath in and have force, not force, but courage, right? And then there's fearlessness. Fearlessness, there isn't that having to muster. There isn't that having to, the difference is, courage, I think, is, I don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to test myself and see. And fearlessness is, I've survived up till this point. And thrived and grown. Like, I trust me. Courage is, I don't necessarily trust me, and fearlessness is, I trust me. And that's what's really changed for me. I am becoming a much more solid person. I've been learning how to, I want to say set boundaries, but I've been learning how to let other people know. People will treat you the way you treat yourself. If you don't like not being considered, like I never get considered, right? That's something within you. That's why do I feel that way? What's making me feel that way? Why do I feel, okay, well, use my weight. This is a great example. Very self-conscious about my weight. And I'm used to people touching me daintily and, oh my god, you're so skinny. Like I'm gonna break. Or quite a few people thought I was a heroin addict. And whatever. And so in sailing, when you're racing, it's important to have weight. Or it's not enough, especially on smaller lifeboats. So weight is very important when it comes to sailing. And so in some positions in sailing, I'm highly inefficient, right? And so if I can't do that position, it makes me automatically feel bad about my weight. It reminds me, the best way I can describe it is, it reminds me of a long time in my life where I wasn't valid enough to be considered, except to be in the way. And so, if somebody grabs my wrist daintily, or says something that triggers that feeling for me, they're not necessarily trying to do that. They're not trying to make me feel that way. That's my own crap. I feel that way because that's been my struggle. Because somehow, some way, well, look at society. Nobody's happy. So many people are depressed. It's what society tells us to believe about ourselves, these unrealistic expectations. I really do think we do a very poor job educating young humans. We are not setting them up to ask questions and find their passions and their joys and their loves. We're setting them up to be lemmings. We're setting them up to be the consumerism society. We're not. This is another great example. Okay, so there are a bunch of children who are my older kids' ages who don't know how to read an analog clock. And I thought about that the other day. I thought, what kind of ramification does that actually have? Because an analog clock, that's mathematical. So if they can't read an analog clock because all they're used to is digital, and that's not, yes, that's partly our education system, but it's also partly our technology and everything else. But 5, 10, 15, a whole, a quarter, a half, like it shouldn't be that hard reading an analog clock. It boggles my mind. So if they can't do that, it means they have a basic not misunderstanding, but sort of a blind spot mathematically. And what is that going to affect down the road? Before cell phones and all of that stuff, we all memorized phone numbers because we had to dial them with a cell phone. And I can tell you the phone numbers I've had up until the point that cell phones existed. And I know my phone number, but I don't have to dial anybody else's. Like, I just hit their in my contacts. So I don't know what their number is. I know a few. And what effect does that have on what effect does that have on everything else, on the brain, on the way information gets processed, on what you remember? And what was it, like 10 years ago or whatever they were talking about? They called it the microwave attention span. I remember when videos went from like 30 minutes, people would pay attention for 30 minutes, and then it went down to 5 minutes, and now you're lucky if you can get someone to watch a video that's longer than a minute, especially over 5. Fast-paced, everybody's so busy. And I know these are, 8 minutes. 8 minutes. If you've made it this far, congratulations. But it feels really good. It feels really good to have a better sense of myself. And that's because I had to face it. Fear is your biggest catalyst to growth and change. Fear is just something that is unknown. I don't know if it's good or bad. It's my daughter who taught me that. And I'd ask her a question, and she would say, like, I'd be like, well, what do you think how do you think you'll feel doing this? Do you think you'd like doing this? And she would look at me and she'd say, honestly, Mom, I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I won't have an opinion until I do it. Not conjecture, not like, I just simply don't know. And I went like, oh, that's a pretty valid point. Because we're so used to just spouting off crap that we've been taught when we were little. We're so used to, thinking that what we believe is what we believe when it isn't. It's just what we've been taught. That one boggles my mind. I don't know. I'll go ahead and end this, so it's now over 10 minutes, but it's been a really long time since I've made them.